In the previous episode, we have implemented trees into our town so they get spawned as well as the houses. Now what we need to do is to create animations, but before that, let's create quickly an UI, a button, and this will be the button that I have promised. This will be the button to regenerate our town. So let's call it regenerate. Okay, save it. Let's change the view in our scene to 2D. Let's focus using F on this button. Let's increase the size. Let's increase the text size. Okay, great. It can be here, doesn't matter. What we next need is to clean our space to regenerate our town. So what we need to do is to implement methods to clear the road helper and structure helper. So let's go first to, for example, our road helper class. Okay, let's slide it down, and we will want to implement a public void reset method that will destroy all the roads from our map. So for each var value in our road dictionary dot values, that's the main reason why we have this dictionary, we are going to call destroy our item. Great. Next, what we need to do is call road dictionary dot clear and fix road candidates equals new hash set. That's it for the road helper. Now let's go to our structure helper, and here again let's slide it down. Let's find the end of this class, and at the end let's create public void reset. And okay, we need to go for each var item in build in our structure dictionary dot keys. We're going to destroy our item. Great. And now let's clear the structures dictionary, and let's do the same for each var item in nature dictionary dot values. Let's destroy all the items, so destroy the item, and clear the nature dictionary. Great. And for each var building type in our building types, we are going to call building type dot reset, and we have implemented this method to reset the quantity placed so we can replace our structures. So now all that is left, let's go to our visualizer class. Okay, and here we have also this position. So let's slide down where we are calling this visualize here. So we are going to create a public void create town method, and here we are going to call length equals, and do we have this? No, we do not. We need to save the length of the road first. So let's create a public int a road length, and let's set it to be 8, and this we will be able to change. And at the start we are going to set our length equals road length. Now we have safely saved the road length, so we can reset it by setting it to road length. And actually we do not need to set it in start. We are going to move this whole getting sequence from the start to the create town and call the create town inside our start method. And now we will be able to create town using the button as well. So before that, we have resetted the length of our road. We need to call road helper dot reset. We need to call our structure helper dot reset. And what else? As I said before, we have this positions list. so we need to clear it as well. Actually, we do not need it anymore, I think, but we are adding to it here, so let's delete it. This will be the simplest solution. So we do not need to clear it because we are going to delete this. Great. So now we can call this method to recreate our town. So let's go back to, okay, let's go to our button. Let's add an event using the on-click control. We're going to drag to the object visualizer, and in the visualizer we are going to choose to call create town. So the create town will be called by this button. So let's play the game, and we can regenerate our town as we please. Great. So now, as promised, let's implement the animations. So let's open up the visualizer, and now instead of calling the visualize sequence, we are going to call start coroutine and pass to it our visualize sequence. So we need to change visualize sequence to be returning I enumerator. Okay. Now I need to call Alt-Enter using system.collections. And what we will need to do is to slide down, and we will need to implement yield return somewhere. So after placing a road, we are going to call yield return new wait for end of frame. Okay, good. And next we will need to wait for all the roads to be created before we can fix it. So we need to call yield return new wait for seconds. We're going to say 0.1 second, and we are going to wait for the roads to be fixed and wait a bit more, so 0.8 seconds before we create our structures. Okay, and we will need to make create a variable at the top here, private bool waiting for the road equals false. Okay, let's slide it down, because now when we are looping through each letter, first we need to check if wait for the road is equals to true. If we are waiting, we are going to wait before we start to analyze another letter. So this will allow us to animate this whole process. So wait for end of frame. Okay, so we need to set somehow the wait for the road to be false and to be true. So to do that, we are going to set it to be true before we yield. Okay, so waiting for the road equals true. Okay. And now we need to go to our road helper. So let's open the script. Okay. And we will use a delegate, inbuilt delegate of type action here to pass information that we have finished placing road. So let's create at the top of this class public action. I need to call Alt-Enter using system, and let's call it finished coroutine. Okay, we will now slide down and choose place street positions. Instead, here we are going to change it to be I enumerator. Okay, using system collections if you can't use it. And now we need to yield return somewhere. So we are going to yield return in each for loop. So yield return new wait 4 seconds, and we are going to implement another float variable. This will be public float animation time equals 0.01. So this will be time for animation for the road placement. So we are going to use this variable down here when we want to wait. So animation time. Okay. And after we finish placing this line of road, we are going to say finished coroutine. So our delegate, if isn't equal null, we're going to invoke. And this will send information to our visualizer that we have finished placing the road and it can start placing another road. So now let's go to our visualizer. Okay. And in the start, we are going to assign our road helper dot finished coroutine delegate class equals, and we will assign a lambda expression that will simply set our waiting for the road equals false. Okay, so this will inform our visualizer that it can continue with its for loop in its own coroutine. And now what we need to do is to call road helper to call it as a start coroutine. Okay, so we will start a coroutine inside our coroutine that we have already started. Great. So now this will create this animation where the road is placed, but we'll still need to slide down, fix the road, and create coroutine out of this place structures around the road. So we are going to call start coroutine for the structure helper. And of course we need to change the definition of our place structures around the road. So let's right click on it and go to definition, and let's, instead of void, return IEnumerator. Okay, Alt Enter using system collections and save it. So here again we need to implement another variable, public float animation time equals 0.01. Great. And we need to yield somewhere in this statement. So we know that we are deciding what to place in this for loop. So after this for loop, we should call, actually we can call at the end of this for each statement, for each free spot. No, we need to call it before this. So before every placement or after every placement of a structure, we are going to yield return new wait for seconds, and we are going to pass here animation time. Okay, Control RR if you have misspelled it like I did. Okay, great. So now we should have this animation that the building should appear one by one. So let's see in Unity if we have any mistakes. It doesn't appear so let's click start. Okay, and we have this simplistic animation. Now, last thing is to add these falling objects, and this we will implement in the last video.